Hey guys, how's it going? It's your homeboy Umar Al Busaidi. It's the Emirati who goes to Tali. And as part of the show, I always will talk to you about Tallahassee, what I love about this place, um, what I'm learning about this place. And there's very little to dislike about the place, so I don't really have anything bad to say about the place. Anyways, yesterday we had a really awesome time. My friend Josh and his brother Jesse. We went down the movies, watched a movie called Good Boys, and it was good. It was kind of funny, but anyways, I think that for me it was funny because of the experience I had with this guy sitting next to me, who was hilarious. I think he had quite a number of beverages before he stepped into the movies, and uh, I think he may have smoked something before he came into the movies too, because everything bizarrely made him laugh, and he could not stop cracking up. Everybody was like turning to behind to see why is he laughing so much. But yeah, it was quite funny. Uh, my second attempt to cook as well. It's amazing. Again, I cooked I had poke bowl. I made lentil with quinoa and a whole bunch of salad and so many things. You may have seen it on my Instagram. If you haven't, you can check it out before it goes off. Now, having said that, as human beings, we always want to grow. And one of the things that we were kind of told before, that they say that when you reach 18, then X million number of cells in your brain die every day. However, I saw a very interesting TED talk that defies that. In fact, yeah, it can die, but we were not told how can we maintain our brain to a level where it can constantly help us grow and produce new brain cells, so that it will make us learn new skills like the cooking that I'm doing, or new knowledge that I'm going to gain when I'm here in university. So for all you graduates out there, or people who want to study, or people who just want to grow, I have this awesome talk that I watched about. It's called "You Can Grow New Brain Cells. Here's How" by Sandrine Threat. So, can adults do this? This was the question that she asked. So, there's a concept called neurogenesis. Neurogenesis is basically how the adult brain can generate new cells. And the hippocampus, which is in the middle of the brain, is the part of the brain that generates these new cells. Adults produce about 700 new neurons every day, and these brain cells, they're important for the brain to not only the capacity for the brain to grow, but also for memory and learning, right? But most importantly, it's not about how many cells grow, but the quality of your brain cells, which is really important. Now, people who are depressed have there's less growth of these neurons, right? And one of the things, sadly, is that when people get cancer, they give them drugs because these drugs stop the growth of cells, supposedly cancer cells, but actually all cells. This is why a lot of people look fragile and weak, and it's really, really sad. And by the way, in fact, when I watched this other TED talk, it was by Daniel Levitine. He actually talked about this really interesting fact, which is really, really sad. According to GlaxoSmithKline, GSK, it's a huge British pharmaceutical company, about 90% of the drugs only work 30 to 50% of the people. Can you believe that? It's really, really sad. About 30 to 50% of the people, 90% of these drugs work. And 1 in 300 people could actually, they have to be tested on or 300 people basically have to be tested on, and 1 out of those 300 people will actually survive from these kind of like tests. It's crazy. There's actually a concept that when Daniel spoke about, I'll go back to Sandrine in a second, but what Daniel talked about is there's a statistics called NNT, number needed to treat. It's a statistic. Can you believe this? So if you go to your doctor and the doctor prescribes a medication to you, you have to tell you have to ask the doctor, what's the NNT of this particular drug? So basically, what's the number needed to treat for this medication, whatever medication they may give you for whatever condition you may have, before you take it, because you will know your chances. Now, I know that, for example, if they say 1 in 300, and for example, they tell you that a drug has a 5% chance, 5% is like 15 people. You may think that 15 people is not a big deal, but 15 people means you have 15 times the chance of something going wrong with you. This is for the side effect, okay? Then the time that you just entered to see the doctor. So there's 15% or 15 times higher the chances of you actually dying or something bad happening to you or receiving a really bad side effect for taking the medication. So you really need to understand this, and it's very, very important. In fact, the other last thing that I just want to talk about on Daniel's talk, he talked about prostate cancer. Can you imagine, for prostate cancer, 49 people needed to be treated for one person to succeed? It's crazy. And the side effects for prostate cancer, 50% of the time you can get negative side effects. Like, it's just crazy. Anyways, so when we go back, if we combine these two interesting insights from two different people, the TED speakers, with Sandrine, one of the things that she talked about, sorry, I got cut off earlier, but anyways, so one of the things that Sandrine talked about is, what can we do to improve the quality of these new brain cells that are being produced every day? First thing, she talked about learning. We have to basically do more learning, like reading and everything else. Running really helps, of course. She talked about sexual intercourse. The more sex that you have, the better the quality of the cells. But the things that kind of would put down your the quality of your brain cells are stress, sleep deprivation, which is very important, and of course, when you get much older, then yes, your brain cells will die. But also something really interesting as well that she mentioned is what you eat. The quality of the food that you eat plays a huge role. And there's something between hard texture and soft texture food. So if you have soft texture food, it's actually not very good for you. You have to have something that's hard texture, and she explains that as well. This was what I learned from neurogenesis and power of human brain cells that is developed through neurogenesis and the hippocampus. And I think that if we take these things into account from now, we will be able to live a better life and hopefully make this world a better place. Thank you very much, and until tomorrow, watch this space. May God bless you all.